TetherGeist is a 2D precision platformer centered on limited astral projection, leading to unique situations. In this game, you will be challenged by creative level design and deadly obstacles. Naturally, it is quite normal to fail time and time again in this genre. But does the difficulty level cause pure frustration, or is it balanced enough to not give up? You play as May, and even though she can only use her astral projection in a very limited way, she decides to go on a pilgrimage anyway. Even though May suffers from inexplicable painful attacks and is actually not ready for this long and dangerous journey, she does everything she can to reach her goal. During her adventure, she encounters many different environments, each with its own inhabitants. You also meet many new friends, and with their support and your determination, your mission seems to become a lot less impossible. This game consists of 7 chapters, and each chapter introduces you to a new spirit ability. Through the use of challenging yet immensely satisfying level design, your precision and reflexes are tested. Every new power you unlock adds something unique to the overall gameplay, and it won't be easy to master them. Each level is filled with bottomless pits or deadly obstacles, and at times you are even being chased. Thankfully, you have plenty of checkpoints, but they are not always evenly distributed. You might lose quite a bit of time at times when you die, but the fast pace of this game makes sure that you simply just accept it. However, I must say that the difficulty increases enormously after chapter 1. And I can well imagine that some moments really demand a bit too much of you without getting frustrated. Personally, I am not afraid of a challenge, but this is without a doubt one of the hardest precision platformers I have played. It is, however, a very well designed precision platformer with level design that is truly impressive. The later chapters, in particular, feature almost puzzle-like level design, which requires not only good reflexes, but also a considerable amount of insight. Yeah, I really appreciate this. And even though your hitbox is a bit large, and it certainly wasn't without some cursing and swearing, overcoming all these challenges is incredibly satisfying. In particular, the later chapters are not afraid to throw the craziest stuff at you. Chapter 7 is essentially one big gauntlet of all the powers you have unlocked. This is without a doubt the biggest challenge you will have to overcome to reach your goal. Luckily, the controls are very responsive. And with the exception of a few moments, such as navigating these pipes being a bit unresponsive if you use an analog stick, and sometimes certain animations weren't quite right and that's why I died, every time you die it really feels like it's your own fault. Still, the developers might have been a bit too enthusiastic, as the difficulty level of TetherGeist is sometimes almost ridiculous. You also have the option to unlock a different ending if you collect all these red atropas. These flowers are often well hidden and add an extra challenge. However, the game is already difficult enough without collecting everything, which is why it is really only recommended if you are a pro at this genre. The game also features some side quests, and if you complete them successfully, you are rewarded with even more red flowers. These side quests can only be found in intermediate villages, and by talking to all the inhabitants, you eventually find someone who can give you one. However, they are very repetitive and are essentially your standard fetch quests. Often, these inhabitants also have way too much to say, and you are tempted to fast forward through their dialogue. In my opinion, these side quests are a bit pointless, and the long dialogues cause me more frustration than the game's difficulty. These sections add just very little to the game. They do introduce you to certain common traditions in this world and bring all these environments a bit more to life, but in terms of gameplay, they feel more like filler, and I wouldn't mind the game without them. These villages are a visual spectacle and are packed with all kinds of details though. The world of TetherGeist is filled with bright colors and beautiful pixel art. Every chapter is great to look at, and coupled with the soothing yet sometimes tense music, it manages to charm you every moment. The gameplay is undoubtedly the focal point, but the visuals and world design certainly should not be overlooked. So, in general, TetherGeist is a very impressive precision platformer. This genre is generally geared more towards true platform veterans, but this game might even present just a little too much of a challenge. Each chapter is unique and introduces you to the craziest gimmicks, but despite the great execution, it can still demand a bit too much of you. The level design can certainly become enormously complicated in the later chapters. It is then no longer just a matter of how skilled you are at platformers, but also how far ahead you can think. If this really doesn't scare you, then TetherGeist is absolutely a game made for you. Halfway through the game, I decided to give up on collecting the red Atropas, because the game was already challenging enough without them. Having collected nearly 100 Atropas, I finished this game in 7 hours. During these 7 hours, I saw fantastic level design. And even though my fingers started to hurt from pressing the buttons on my controller eventually, I enjoyed it immensely. I have tremendous respect for the developers' guts in making their game so challenging, and I can't wait to see if they can make their next game even more memorable. So be ready to go on a life-changing journey that will amaze you with the wildest challenges, but is definitely worth the suffering.